Now let's go to Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz. He is the chair of the Democratic Governors Association and the co-chair of the DNC Rules Committee, which tomorrow will set the dates for the nominating process. Thanks so much for being with us.
What I know is that people like J.D. Vance know nothing about small-town America. My town had 400 people in it, 24 kids in my graduating class, 12 were cousins, and he gets it all wrong. It's not about hate. It's not about collapsing in. The golden rule there is mind your own damn business. Their policies are what destroyed rural America. They've divided us. They're in our exam rooms. They're telling us what books to read. And I think what Kamala Harris knows is bringing people together around the shared values, strong public schools, strong labor unions that create the middle class, health care that's affordable and accessible. Those are the things. You look what they're talking about. They went right to division. They did not give us a plan on health care. Donald Trump talked about infrastructure. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris built bridges, built roads. So I think this is going back to the bread and butter, getting away from this division. We do not like what has happened where we can't even go to Thanksgiving dinner with our uncle because you end up in some weird fight that is unnecessary. and I think bringing back people together, well, it's true. These guys are just weird. And it's, you know, they're running for He-Man Women Haters Club or something. That's what they go at. That's not what people are interested in. And there is angst because robber barons like J.D. Vance and Donald Trump gutted the Midwest, told us we didn't do that. They talk about private schools. Where in the heck are you going to find a private school in a town of 400? Those are public schools. Those are great teachers that are out there making a difference and gave us an opportunity to succeed. That angst that J.D. Vance talks about in Hillbilly Elegy, none of my hillbilly cousins went to Yale.
Hi everyone, hope you're well. I'm very glad to report that Kamala Harris has picked the progressive choice, Tim Walz, to be her nominee for vice president. What a pleasant surprise. Because a lot of people are unfamiliar with Walz, let's go through a bit of his background. 60 years old. He was born and raised in small town Nebraska. He became a teacher, first in China, then in Nebraska, and finally in Mankato, Minnesota, where he taught geography and coached the high school football team. He was the faculty advisor for the school's first Gay-Straight Alliance chapter in 1999, long before Democrats nationally stood for gay rights. He was a teacher for 20 years. He also served in the Army National Guard for 24 years, enlisting at age 17, a role that took him around the country on a deployment to Europe. Walz first ran for office in 2006 in a Republican-leaning congressional district, knocking off the incumbent in an upset. He kept the district until 2016, dispatching Republicans over and over. In 2018, he ran for governor and won, then defended the seat successfully in 2022. In Minnesota, Democrats secured a narrow government trifecta in 2022, taking both chambers of the legislature and the governorship. And Walz and his colleagues in the legislature got to work, delivering a laundry list of progressive policy wins, such as free school meals, abortion protections, gun restrictions, and legal marijuana. He also has the ability to evolve, a trait unknown to Donny Boy. Walz is a gun owner and a hunter who previously received endorsements and donations from the National Rifle Association, the NRA, and had an A rating from the group, but he shifted. He gave donations from the group to charity after the mass shooting in Las Vegas in 2017, and he supported an assault weapons ban after the 2018 school shooting in Parkland, Florida. While governor, he has signed bills into law that restrict guns. He now has an F rating from the NRA. When asked if his record makes him an asset by Jake Tapper, he replied,
"Of all her potential running mates, you might have the most progressive record as governor. I know you were more of a moderate when you were in the House, but you've legalized recreational marijuana, you passed universal background checks on guns, you expanded LGBTQ protections, you implemented tuition-free college for low-income Minnesotans. There's free breakfast and lunch for school kids. Do you think your record is an asset to the ticket, or would it risk fueling Trump's attacks as you being a big government liberal?"
What a monster. Kids are eating and having full bellies so they can go learn, and women are making their own health care decisions. And we're a top 5 business state, and We also rank in the top 3 of happiness. Look, they're going to label whatever they're going to label. He's going to roll it out, mispronounce names, to try and make the case. The fact of the matter is, where you see the policies that Vice President Harris was a part of making, Democratic governors across the country executed those policies, and quality of life is higher, the economies are better, all of those things. Educational attainment is better. So yeah, my kids are going to eat here, and you're going to have a chance to go to college, and you're going to have an opportunity to live where we're working on reducing carbon emissions. Oh, and by the way, you're going to have personal incomes that are higher, and you're going to have health insurance. So if that's where they want to label me, I'm more than happy to take the label.
Look, I'm honestly astounded by Kamala. Her picking Walz is an inspired choice. Firstly, always good to see the Democrats picking the choice that unites the party. They never do that, and Kamala Harris just did, bringing the progressives on board. My God, it brings a tear to my eye when the Democrats actually consider their fucking base when making such a choice. It's so nice to see. Well done, Kamala. Mobilize the base. Why does this choice please the base? Because throughout his tenure as Minnesota governor, Walz has proven his progressive bona fides by implementing a slate of progressive policies. We already read through some of them. We'll get to a few more. But beyond that, the guy is obviously a very gifted politician. When you have Nancy Pelosi rooting for the same guy as the progressives, you know the guy's skilled at bringing folks around. So he's skilled, and even more importantly, the guy is authentic. He speaks authentically, and he's very down to earth. But that doesn't mean he hasn't got vision. He's likable, and he pairs well with Kamala. I just feel they're gonna vibe. An experienced, witty white guy who's got his small town bona fides. Straight shooter, pro-working class, relatable, down to earth, and who will serve well as an attack dog, as he's already proven. So why didn't she choose Shapiro? I think Shapiro may have been a little bit too inexperienced. It's his first term as governor, after all. A little bit too openly ambitious. And he also didn't make the impact that Walz has had in the short time, in the short auditioning phase. There's also another thing that I've listened to Ryan Grimm elaborate on today. Shapiro may have had too many skeletons in his closet. And in such a short campaign span, Kamala may not have wanted to waste time on those scandals. And then Tim Walz's greatest scandals, well, they're not that great. Obviously, he's an ultra-liberal. They usually go with he's like Bernie, but dumber / crazier or something derogatory like that. And the best attack line the Republicans, I think, will go with, for the moment at least, is that he was the governor of Minnesota during the George Floyd protests. Apparently, he waited for the city leaders to request assistance before sending the National Guard in, and Republicans blame him for not taking initiative sooner. I don't think this will particularly resonate. Too many things have happened since then. It's old news. And yes, although Walz is unknown right now, obviously, a recent poll showed that only 13% of Americans knew enough about Walz to even register an opinion of him. So yeah, he's an unknown right now, but I think he will play very well in the Great Lakes states, in the battleground states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Because Minnesota ain't that different really in terms of demographics. It just leans a little more to the left. Let's go through some updates now. Kamala Harris has confirmed her selection of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. An excellent choice, Kamala. I am proud to announce that I've asked Walz to be my running mate, Harris said. One of the things that stood out to me about Tim is how his convictions on fighting for middle-class families run deep. It's personal. She went on to say, he grew up in a small town in Nebraska, spending summers working on his family's farm. His father died of cancer when he was 19, and his family relied on Social Security survivor benefit checks to make ends meet. At 17, he enlisted in the National Guard, serving for 24 years. He used his GI Bill benefits to go to college and become a teacher. He served as both the football coach and the advisor of the Gay Straight Alliance. I share this background both because it's impressive in its own right, tonight, and because you see in uncertain terms how it informs his record. He worked with Republicans to pass infrastructure investments. He cut taxes for working families. He passed a law to provide paid family and medical leave to Minnesotan families. He made Minnesota the first state in the country to pass a law providing constitutional abortion protections after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. And as an avid hunter, he passed a bill requiring universal background checks for gun purchases. Whether you are a supporter, we are going to build a great partnership. We are going to build a great team. We are going to win this election. Wow. I'm almost feeling it at this point. We have Walz thanking Harris for the honor of a lifetime. It is the honor of a lifetime to join. I'm all in. Let's get this done. That's great to hear. Obama approves. Jack approves. And he's off. He's en route to Philadelphia for a campaign rally with Harris. Tim Walz has left his residence in St. Paul to make the trip to Philadelphia, where he will soon appear alongside Kamala Harris at a campaign rally this evening. Wow. And he's off, ladies and gents. The battle has just begun. So we'll say goodbye with that. Expect another episode very soon after the speech tonight. Bye-bye.
Sometimes life is as much about the lessons you learn as the lessons you teach. When I grew up, community was a way of life. My high school class was 24 people. I was related to half of them. I learned to be generous towards my neighbors, compromise without compromising my values, and work for the common good. My dad was in the Army, and with his encouragement, I joined the Army National Guard when I was 17. I served for 24 years. I used my GI benefits to go to college and become a public school teacher. I coached football and taught social studies for 20 years. And I tried to teach my students what small-town Nebraska taught me: respect, compromise, service to country. And so when I went into government, that's what I carried with me. I worked with Republicans to pass an infrastructure bill, cut taxes for working families, signed paid leave into law. I codified abortion rights after Roe got overturned. Because I go to work for the common good. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. Because that's what this election is about. It's about your future. It's about your family. And Vice President Harris knows that. She too grew up in a middle-class family. She too goes to work every day, making sure families can not just get by, but get ahead. We believe in the promise of America, in those values I learned in Nebraska, and we're ready to fight for them. Because as Kamala Harris says, when we fight, we win.